Most people over 60 are told the same lie over and over again. Slow down, protect your joints, take it easy. That advice sounds kind. It sounds safe. It sounds responsible, and it is quietly speeding up the loss of your independence. The truth is your body does not lose freedom because it moves too much. It loses freedom because it stops moving in very specific ways. And once those movements disappear from your daily life, the body does not politely wait for you to bring them back. It replaces them with stiffness, with weakness, with fear. I am going to give you 3 daily movements, not exercises in the gym sense. Movements. Patterns your nervous system evolved to use every day. Movements that keep your brain, muscles, joints, and balance systems in constant communication. If you do these 3 every day, you dramatically slow the decline that forces people into walkers, canes, and dependence. If you do not, the decline accelerates quietly until one small incident changes everything. This is not opinion. This is physiology. Longitudinal studies on aging populations show that strength loss is not the earliest driver of disability. Coordination loss is. Balance loss is. The ability to control your body through space under small, unpredictable loads. That is what fails first. And when that goes, confidence goes. Then activity drops. Then muscle disappears. Then bones weaken. Then one fall becomes a life-altering event. The core message of this entire video is simple. Independence lives in motion. Lose the motion, lose the independence. Everything else you will hear today connects back to that single truth. The first movement you must protect is the ability to rise from the ground without using your hands. This is not about pride. This is about survival. When researchers assess functional age, one of the strongest predictors of mortality is the ability to get up from the floor. Not how fast you walk, not your grip strength alone. Getting up from the ground requires coordinated ankle mobility, knee strength, hip extension, spinal control, and balance. It is a full-body neurological event. When you lower yourself toward the ground and rise again, your brain must sequence muscle activation precisely. Ankles adjust micro-movements to keep you upright. The knees absorb and produce force. The hips generate extension. The spine stabilizes. Your vestibular system recalibrates as your head moves through space. This is not just standing up. This is your entire balance and strength system rehearsing life. When people stop doing this movement, the brain begins to downregulate it. The motor cortex shrinks representation for that pattern. Muscles involved stop receiving strong neural signals. Strength drops, yes, but more importantly, coordination drops. That is why many older adults technically have enough strength to stand, but cannot do it smoothly or safely. The loss is gradual. First you push off your thighs, then you reach for furniture, then you avoid the floor altogether, and once you stop going to the floor becomes dangerous. Doing this movement daily keeps the brain's map of your body sharp. It tells your nervous system, this pattern matters, keep it. That alone preserves confidence. Confidence reduces fear. Fear reduction keeps you moving. Movement keeps everything else alive. The second movement is walking with deliberate imbalance. Most people believe walking is enough. It is not. Normal walking becomes too predictable. The brain adapts and stops learning. Independence requires adaptability. Real life is uneven ground, sudden turns, obstacles, distractions. Your balance system depends on 3 inputs: vision, inner ear, joint position sense. When you always walk the same way on flat surfaces at the same speed, the brain relies heavily on vision and neglects the others. That is why many older adults feel unsteady in low light or crowded spaces. Their balance system has been simplified. Deliberate imbalance retrains this system. This means walking slowly while turning your head side to side. Walking while changing speed intentionally. Walking along a line, stepping over small objects, pausing on one foot for a moment mid-step. These tiny challenges force the nervous system to integrate sensory information again. Inside the inner ear, fluid-filled canals detect head movement. When you stop challenging them, their signal weakens. The brain begins to distrust them. That distrust shows up as dizziness, hesitation, and instability. Gentle daily challenges rebuild trust. Studies on fall prevention consistently show that balance training reduces falls more than strength training alone. Why? Because falls happen when coordination fails, not when muscles are slightly weak. Training imbalance teaches the body to recover. When something goes wrong, that recovery is independence. The third movement is controlled rotation of the spine and hips. Loss of rotation is the silent thief. Humans are rotational beings. Walking itself is rotational. Arms swing opposite legs. The spine gently twists. The hips rotate. When rotation disappears, movement becomes rigid. Rigid bodies fall harder and recover slower. Daily life requires rotation, turning to look behind you, reaching across the body, getting in and out of a car. When rotation is lost, people compensate with small steps, stiff movements, and avoidance. Avoidance leads to inactivity. Inactivity accelerates decline. Rotation nourishes the spine. It moves fluid through discs. It stimulates deep, stabilizing muscles. It keeps connective tissue elastic. Without it, the spine stiffens, nerves become irritated, and movement feels unsafe. Slow, controlled rotation tells the nervous system that twisting is safe. Safety is everything. The brain limits movement it perceives as dangerous. Restore the sense of safety, and movement returns. These three movements work together. Ground transitions maintain strength and coordination. Deliberate imbalance maintains balance and confidence. Rotation maintains fluidity and adaptability. Miss one, and the system weakens. Now here is what most people get wrong. They think doing these movements occasionally is enough. It is not. The nervous system responds to frequency more than intensity. Small daily inputs reshape the brain. Large occasional efforts do not. That is why this works even if you have not exercised in years. You are not building muscle first. You are rebuilding communication. Inside the body, motor neurons fire based on use. When a movement is repeated daily, synapses strengthen, myelin increases, signals travel faster, coordination improves. That improvement feels like, I feel steadier before it feels like, I feel stronger. That order matters. Strength without coordination does not protect independence. Coordination creates usable strength. Now I want to foreshadow something important. Many people who start doing these movements report discomfort in the first 2 weeks. Not injury pain, awareness pain. Stiff tissues waking up, dormant muscles receiving signals again. This discomfort scares people into stopping. That is a mistake. The discomfort is the system re-engaging. Later in this video, I will explain how to tell the difference between safe discomfort and warning pain so you do not quit too early. Let us get practical. Daily movement 1. Getting down and up from the ground. Start by using support, a chair, a wall. The goal is control, not speed. Lower yourself slowly. Feel your hips move back. Knees bend, ankles flex. Keep your chest relaxed. Then pause. Let your balance system register the position. Rise with intention. Push through your feet. Extend your hips. Let your arms assist only as much as needed. Do this once a day. 1 repetition, that is enough at first. Over weeks, reduce hand support. Over months, make it smoother. This single movement preserves multiple systems at once. Daily movement 2. Walking with variation. During a normal walk, add 1 challenge. Turn your head gently side to side. Walk slower for 10 steps, then slightly faster. Step over cracks deliberately. Pause briefly on 1 foot. Do not rush. The goal is awareness. 5 minutes is enough. Your brain hates unpredictability at first. That is why this works. It forces recalibration. Daily movement 3. Slow rotation. Stand or sit tall. Turn your torso gently to one side. Let your eyes follow. Breathe. Return to center. Switch sides. Keep hips involved. No forcing. 10 rotations total, daily. This movement feeds the spine. It keeps the nervous system comfortable with twisting. Comfort equals confidence. Now about discomfort. Safe discomfort feels like stretching, warmth, mild soreness later. Warning pain is sharp, stabbing, or increasing rapidly. If pain changes your movement pattern, stop and reduce range. Never force speed. Control is king. Another foreshadowing. Later in this video, I will give you a simple daily routine that combines all three movements into under 10 minutes. But first you need to understand why consistency matters more than effort. The brain operates on prediction. When you move daily, the brain predicts that movement is necessary for survival. It allocates resources accordingly. When you stop, the brain reallocates resources away from movement. That is not laziness. That is efficiency. Aging does not shut this system off. It just makes it more sensitive to disuse. This is why people who retire and stop moving decline faster, even if they are resting. The nervous system interprets rest as irrelevance. The people who stay independent into their 80s and 90s do not avoid movement. They protect it. Let me be very clear. This is not about fitness culture. It is about autonomy. Being able to get up after a fall. Being able to walk in the dark to the bathroom. Being able to turn quickly when someone calls your name. These moments decide independence. Now the promised routine. Morning. 1 controlled get down and get up using support. Midday, 5 minutes of varied walking. Evening, 10 slow rotations. That is it. No equipment, no gym, no exhaustion. If you want to layer more, you can. But if you protect these three, you protect the foundation. Here is the final truth I want to leave you with. Independence is not stolen in old age. It is traded away quietly for convenience. Chairs instead of floors. Predictable paths instead of varied ones. Stillness instead of rotation. Reverse those trades and the body responds. Do these three movements daily. Not perfectly, not intensely, daily. Your future self is built by what your nervous system practices today. There is another lie that quietly ruins independence after 60. The lie is that the body fails evenly. It does not. Decline is selective. Certain systems collapse first, and when they go, everything else follows. The first system to fail is reaction speed. Not strength, reaction speed. Reaction speed lives in the nervous system. It determines how fast your brain detects a loss of balance and how quickly it sends corrective signals to your muscles. Do not fall because you are weak. You fall because the correction arrives too late. Daily ground transitions sharpen reaction speed. When you lower yourself to the floor and rise again, your nervous system practices rapid sequencing. Ankles fire, knees stabilize, hips extend, core muscles activate reflexively. This keeps neural pathways fast. When this movement disappears, reaction speed slows. A trip that would have been recovered at 50 becomes a fall at 70. Same obstacle, slower signal. The second system to fail is joint position awareness. This is your ability to know where your body is without looking. It is why you can walk without staring at your feet. This awareness degrades rapidly with disuse. Sitting removes the demand. Flat, predictable walking removes the demand. Shoes that block sensation remove the demand. Deliberate imbalance restores it. When you pause on one foot, the ankle sends rapid feedback to the brain. When you turn your head while walking, the inner ear challenges stability. When you change speed, the nervous system must adapt on the fly. These are not balance tricks. They are neural recalibration. People who lose joint position awareness begin to move cautiously. Caution stiffens the body. Stiffness reduces shock absorption. Reduced shock absorption increases injury severity. This is why people who move carefully often get hurt worse. The third system to fail is rotational control. Rotation is how force is transferred through the body. When you lose rotation, forces concentrate instead of dispersing. The knees take stress they were not designed to handle. The lower back stiffens to compensate. Shoulders become restricted. Controlled rotation redistributes load. It allows energy to flow across joints instead of crashing into them. This is why people who stop twisting often develop chronic pain even without injury. Now let us talk about hormones because movement affects chemistry. After 60, anabolic hormones decline. Muscle protein synthesis slows. Bone turnover increases. Many people assume this makes exercise pointless. That assumption is false. Mechanical loading still signals hormone release. Not in the same volume as youth, but enough to preserve tissue. Ground transitions load bones through the hips and spine. This stimulates osteoblast activity. Varied walking loads the feet and ankles, preserving bone density where fractures are most dangerous. Rotation stimulates deep spinal muscles that stabilize posture. Posture matters more than people realize. Forward head posture and rounded shoulders compress the lungs. Reduced lung expansion reduces oxygenation. Reduced oxygenation increases fatigue. Fatigue reduces activity. Activity loss accelerates decline. Rotation and upright movement reverse this spiral. Another critical system is the vestibular system in the inner ear. This system senses head movement and orientation. It degrades when not challenged. When it degrades, people feel dizzy in crowds, on stairs, or when turning quickly. This creates fear. Fear limits movement. Limited movement worsens vestibular decline. Gentle head turns during walking keep this system alive. This is why people who walk a lot, but never turn their head or vary terrain still lose balance. The body adapts specifically to what you ask of it. Now I want to be extremely clear about something. These movements do not work because they are hard. They work because they are specific. Specificity beats intensity. 10 minutes of the right movement beats an hour of the wrong one. This is why people can go to the gym for years and still struggle to get up from the floor. Gym machines remove balance, remove rotation, and remove coordination demands. They strengthen isolated muscles while the nervous system stagnates. This script is not anti-exercise. It is pro-function. Now let me explain why daily matters more than weekly. The nervous system prunes unused connections quickly. Within days, not months. If you challenge balance once a week, the brain does not consider it essential. If you challenge it daily, even briefly, the brain protects it. This is the same mechanism that allows people to lose a language they stop speaking. Use determines survival. Movement patterns are a language. Stop speaking them and they fade. This is also why people often feel older after illness or bed rest. It is not just weakness, it is neural loss. The good news is that neural gain happens the same way. Small, frequent inputs. Now let us address the people who already use canes or walkers. These tools are not failures, they are supports, but over-reliance accelerates decline. If all balance responsibility is given to an external device, internal systems weaken faster. If you use support, still practice these movements within safe limits. Use the chair to get up and down. Use a wall while rotating. Use a safe hallway for varied walking. The goal is participation, not independence from aids overnight. Even partial engagement preserves neural pathways. Now let me address a subtle but important detail. Breathing. Most people over 60 breathe shallowly. Chest rises, belly stays still. This reduces core stability. The diaphragm is not just a breathing muscle. It stabilizes the spine. When breathing is shallow, spinal stability decreases. Balance suffers. Rotation encourages deeper breathing. Getting up from the floor naturally engages breath. Varied walking increases respiratory demand slightly. This retrains breathing patterns without drills. Better breathing equals better balance. Now let us discuss timing. Morning movement reduces stiffness by increasing synovial fluid circulation. Midday varied walking maintains alertness and circulation. Evening rotation down regulates the nervous system, improving sleep. Sleep is when tissue repair happens. Poor sleep accelerates muscle loss and cognitive decline. Movement improves sleep architecture. This is not optional, it is foundational. Now I want to confront another dangerous belief. Pain means damage. Often, pain means sensitivity. As movement decreases, the nervous system becomes hypervigilant. It amplifies signals. Normal sensations feel threatening. Gentle movement recalibrates this sensitivity. The brain learns that motion is safe again. Pain decreases. Avoidance reinforces pain. Now let me give you an even clearer daily template. No ambiguity. Morning. One controlled descent to the floor. And one controlled rise. You support slow, calm breathing. Afternoon. 5 minutes of walking with one challenge. Head turns, speed changes. Pauses, choose one. Evening. 10 slow rotations. Standing or seated. Eyes follow the turn, breathe. That is under 10 minutes total. If you do more, fine. If not, this is enough to preserve independence. Now let me tell you what happens if you do nothing. First, balance confidence drops, then walking speed slows, then stride shortens, then muscle loss accelerates, then bone density drops, then one fall changes everything. This is not fear-mongering. This is the most common trajectory in aging. The opposite trajectory exists. Balance improves, confidence grows, movement increases, strength stabilizes, bone density maintains, falls are avoided. The difference is daily movement. Now one final layer that most people never hear. Cognition. Movement improves brain health, especially coordinated movement. Getting up from the floor requires planning. Varied walking requires attention. Rotation integrates sensory input. These stimulate the prefrontal cortex and cerebellum. This slows cognitive decline. People who move well think better. People who think better move more. This loop protects independence far beyond the body. Now we arrive at the core message again because repetition cements memory. Independence is not about age. It is about motion. Lose motion, lose independence. Protect motion, protect independence. Down, vary, turn. Do not wait for a diagnosis. Do not wait for pain. Do not wait for motivation. Movement is the signal your body understands. Send the signal daily. That is how independence is preserved. And now I want to address the part nobody likes to talk about, because this is where denial lives. Most people do not lose independence suddenly. They lose it in layers, quiet layers. The body whispers long before it screams. The first whisper is hesitation. You pause before stepping off a curb. You grab the railing without thinking. You avoid sitting on the floor because getting up feels awkward. These moments feel small. They are not. Hesitation is the nervous system saying, I am no longer confident I can recover. Confidence is not mindset. It is stored experience. The brain keeps a running record of what it can safely handle. When you stop giving it evidence, it updates the record downward. Daily movement is how you update that record upward. Now let us talk about time under tension, because this matters more than people realize. When you lower yourself to the floor slowly, muscles are lengthening under load. This is eccentric control. Eccentric strength protects joints. It absorbs force when you trip. It prevents sudden collapses. Most daily life failures happen during eccentric moments. Sitting down too fast, stepping down stairs, losing balance backward. If you do not train eccentric control, these moments become dangerous. Round transitions are eccentric training disguised as daily life. Varied walking also includes eccentric demand. Slowing down requires controlled deceleration. Pausing on one foot requires stabilizers to fire. These small demands add up. Rotation adds eccentric control to the spine and hips. It teaches tissues to lengthen safely under load. This reduces sudden strains. Now let us talk about connective tissue. Tendons and ligaments stiffen with age if not loaded. Stiff connective tissue transmits force poorly. Instead of absorbing impact, it passes force to joints. Joints suffer. Slow, controlled movement rehydrates connective tissue. Tendons respond to load by aligning collagen fibers. This improves elasticity. Elastic tissues protect independence. Now let us talk about circulation. Movement pumps blood, not just through the heart but through the periphery. Calves act as secondary hearts. When walking becomes minimal and predictable, this pump weakens. Blood pools, swelling increases, nerve health declines. Varied walking keeps this pump active. Pauses and speed changes enhance venous return. Better circulation improves nerve conduction. Nerves conduct signals faster. Faster signals improve balance. Everything connects. Now let us talk about vision. As people age, vision becomes dominant in balance. This is dangerous. Vision is slow. It is easily disrupted. Low light, glare, crowds all interfere. The goal is to reduce visual dependence and increase internal sensing. Deliberate imbalance does this. Closing your eyes briefly while standing near support, turning your head while walking, feeling the ground through your feet. This shifts balance control back where it belongs. Now a critical warning. Do not turn this into a checklist competition. This is not about perfection. It is about exposure, small exposure, daily. Your nervous system adapts best to manageable challenge. Over-challenge triggers fear. Fear shuts down learning. Always finish feeling successful, not exhausted. Now let us confront another myth. I walk every day, so I'm fine. Walking alone is not enough once the nervous system has adapted. Without variation, walking becomes background noise to the brain. It no longer stimulates change. Think of it like hearing the same sound repeatedly. Eventually, you stop noticing it. Variation makes the signal loud again. This is why athletes cross-train. Aging bodies need the same principle, just gentler. Now let us talk about hands. Many people use their hands to push up from chairs, beds, and floors. Over time, this becomes dependence. Legs stop receiving the signal to work. Arms take over. Arms are not designed to lift your body weight from the ground. They assist, not replace. Overuse leads to shoulder pain, wrist strain, and neck tension. Reducing hand dependence gradually restores leg dominance. Legs are your independence engines. Now let me talk about posture again, because it underpins everything. When posture collapses, the center of mass shifts forward. Balance becomes harder. Steps shorten. Falls become more likely. Ground transitions require upright posture to succeed. Rotation restores spinal alignment. Varied walking challenges posture dynamically. Posture is not something you hold. It is something movement restores. Now let us talk about confidence and identity again. Because this is where people give up. Many people say, I'm too old for that. What they mean is, I haven't done that in a long time. The nervous system does not understand age. It understands exposure. If you stop exposing yourself to a movement, it feels foreign. Foreign feels unsafe. Reintroduce it slowly, and familiarity returns. This is how people in their 70s relearn movements they thought were gone forever. Now let us talk about why. Speed is the enemy early on. Speed hides compensation. When you move fast, the body cheats. It uses momentum instead of control. This feels successful but teaches nothing. Slow movement reveals weaknesses. That is uncomfortable. That is also where change happens. Move slowly enough to feel what is working. Now let us talk about environment. Your home should support movement, not restrict it. Clear floor space, stable chairs, good lighting. These reduce fear. Reduced fear increases practice. Fear is the biggest barrier to consistency. Now let us talk about why motivation is unreliable. Motivation is emotional. Independence is mechanical. Do not wait to feel inspired. Attach movement to routine. Morning, midday, evening. Habits outlast motivation. Now let us talk about the timeline of change. Week 1, awareness increases. Stiffness may feel more noticeable. Week 2, movements feel smoother. Confidence slightly improves. Week 3 to 4, balance improves. Daily tasks feel easier. Month 2, fear decreases. Activity increases naturally. Month 3 and beyond, decline slows significantly. This is not instant, it is cumulative. Now let us talk about when to stop and seek help. If pain is sharp, progressive, or neurological symptoms appear like numbness or sudden weakness, consult a professional. Movement is powerful, but it must respect signals. Now let me say something very plainly. If you do nothing, your options narrow. If you move daily, your options expand. Independence is the ability to choose. Choose when to sit, choose when to stand, choose where to go. Movement preserves choice. Now I want to bring the message home one final time, because repetition matters. 3 movements daily. Get down and get up. Walk with variation, rotate your spine. Down, vary, turn. Not because you want to exercise, because you want to live without asking permission from your body. Your body is listening. Give it the signal. Now this is where everything comes together, and I want you to listen closely, because this is the part most people never hear until it is too late. Independence is not something you fight for after it starts slipping. By then, the fight is uphill. Independence is something you quietly maintain long before anyone notices a problem. It is built in ordinary moments, in how you sit, how you stand, how you turn, how you walk. Every time you avoid the floor, your world shrinks a little. Every time you walk the same safe path without variation, your balance system dulls a little. Every time you stop turning your body fully, stiffness writes itself into your future. None of this happens dramatically. That is why people miss it. But the opposite is also true. Every time you get down and get back up, even with help, you remind your nervous system that you are capable. Every time you add a small challenge to your walk, you sharpen balance that protects you later. Every time you rotate slowly and comfortably, you keep your body adaptable instead of brittle. This is not about staying young. It is about staying able. The body you will live in 10 years from now is not decided by genetics alone. It is decided by what movements you keep alive today. The nervous system does not care about your intentions. It responds to what you practice. If you practice caution and avoidance, it gives you fragility. If you practice movement and control, it gives you resilience. That is the exchange. And here is the quiet truth most people never realize until they lose it. Independence is not just physical. It is dignity. It is confidence. It is the freedom to move without negotiating with fear. When people lose independence, they often say the same thing. I didn't think it would happen so fast. It feels fast because the groundwork was laid slowly. You now know how to interrupt that process. Not with extreme workouts, not with expensive equipment, not with willpower, with 3 movements. Down, vary, turn. Do them daily. Do them calmly. Do them with respect for your body, not fear of it. 10 minutes a day is enough to keep your nervous system awake, your balance honest, and your body cooperative. You do not need to wait for pain. You do not need to wait for a fall. You do not need to wait for permission. Start where you are. Use support, move slowly, stay consistent. Your future self will not remember how busy you were or how careful you tried to be. Your future self will feel the difference between a body that was protected through movement and one that was quietly abandoned to stillness. Independence is not preserved by doing nothing. It is preserved by doing a little every day on purpose. Down, vary, turn. That is how you keep your body on your side.